breaking through the night. Moji's got that golden sight, making profits left and right. Candlesticks, the dance we know, green and red like disco flow. Trading all day, don't let go. Cash now, wait and let it show. Success is calling, don't be late. With Moji, we calibrate. Stack that cash like we've got faith. In the market, we'll create. Buy low, sell high, that's the creed. Day by day, we feel the need. Victory is guaranteed when you follow Moji's lead.
Good morning, good morning. Welcome back to another live show. All right, so it's day 2, trading with purpose. This is the segment where I talk about exactly what the reason why I do this. So I'm Mo. I'm a full-time dad. I'm a martial artist and a futures trader. I'm on a mission to build wealth and legacy not only for me but for my family. So I'm not chasing. I'm not over trading. I just showing up with some structure, with some clarity, and a deep why behind every move that I make, every trade, everything that I do. So today's focus, right? Today's focus, what I'll be talking about most throughout the live trading session today, is what to do when there is no setup, when the A plus setup doesn't show up or doesn't follow your plan. What do I do? What can you do in order to protect your capital? You know, because what a lot of traders do, including myself, is we love to force trades when nothing's there. But I am personally working, and hopefully you are too, that discipline is me being okay with waiting. I have a problem with that, and I need to get better at it. So we're on this same journey together. So that means basically, if there's nothing there, I don't take a trade. I don't take the trade for the sake of it. I don't take the trade just for a couple points. I have to stay with my strategy, and basically that's about it. So if my A plus setup is not there today, I don't trade. Now, some things you're going to see me do today is if I don't see my A plus setup and I start getting frustrated, I'm going to put us on a be right back, and I'm going to actually walk away from the screen. I'm going to show this real time because that's what I have to do in order not to overtrade. I know some people can stay in front of the screen and maybe watch something, but because I'm on live here, I'm going to show exactly what I do if I wasn't on live. So I'll walk away, and then we'll come back and we'll do, see if there's any more setups coming back. So without any further hesitation, don't forget to like and subscribe. And always remember that protect your capital, and every trade that I take, if it doesn't match what I'm looking for in my setups, I'm going to walk away. That's a mindset I want to pass on, not only to you out there, but also to my kids and my family members or anybody else, friends, my students, anyone I work with. So let's go into the pre-market analysis. So you can see here we have our game plan for today. Price is right now underneath my short on stall level. I had given myself a 40-point cushion, 20 points on either direction. So right now price is stalling underneath it. So that means right now I would be okay with shorts. Now remember, we are at open, right? So at every open, I wait about 15-20 minutes if I don't see a good setup to see what New York Open wants to do, right? Because I can't predict if the market's going to go up or down based on the level. That's just an area of interest. So I just wait for New York to tell me, okay, are the bulls in control or the bears in control? And if you look at the middle of the screen there on the TWA dashboard, all trades and all indicators are powered by TWA indicators. you can see that bottom two on the 15 minute are bearish. Now if I switch it to the 1 minute, you're gonna see it's gonna change, and that is the price action at present time. So if you're trading on a smaller time frame, this is the one I would recommend. Now you can see here that they're mixed, that it says bullish and a retracement. So that means you just wait. You just wait right now. However, because it's below that line, I wouldn't mind taking a short now. And if we switch over to the live trade screen with my trigger chart, you can see that we had a nice setup for a short here. I'm gonna go. So this PI is approve it. It's from the Algo V2 indicator from TWA indicators, and then you had a sell button right after that. So those were strong signals for sales if you want to take a short, you know, and it was in towards the expensive box. So that, to me, that was a good setup. The only thing I did not like is the TPOs are yellow. Now, if you minimize your risk maybe to 1 or 2 contracts, it's okay to take it on yellow. I personally don't, because I like to have at least 2 contracts on, so 1 contract can be peeled off, and then, you know, have 1 run. But that was a good setup. You can see the probability oscillator towards the bottom of the screen. 3 bars are red and it's starting to move down, and we are 1 minute away from open. So I'm going to be quiet. Let's put on some music and let's get ready to trade.
Woke up to the sunlight in my eyes. Today's the day I'll rise and shine. No worries, no fears cross my mind. Let's leave the doubts all behind. Walking on clouds, I'm feeling light. Smiles and laughter all in sight. Every step I take feels so right. Let's make this day out of sight. Got that confident vibe inside my soul. Living my life.
And we are, in about 10 seconds, we're going to be open. Don't forget to drop those likes, please. Drop those likes, share the videos, and subscribe. I'm trying to get 1,000 subscribers. I want 1,000 subscribers. So if you enjoy trading and the opening bell, please subscribe if you're not subscribed already. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your dog. Make up accounts. I don't give a crap. Let's get 1,000 subscribers. Let's see if we can get this word out. All right, so let's see now. Let me see what is happening here. It looks like we got a little push from the bulls here. Okay. All right, let's see. Micros. Let's see if there's any setups here. So we had the beginning of a setup for a long, but you can see on the surge at the bottom, it went from that green bar to the red bar. You have chop, so nothing was missed. TPOs are yellow at this time. We've got to prove it. We got a Gabby button, and where price is just kind of stuck here. Hold on, where's my dashboard? Now, oh, like this is just an experience thing, but with the 4-hour forecaster, when it price gets stuck around this, this is called the previous 4-hour close line. That's the orange line here. That's another area that me personally, it chops me up like crazy. All right, so we see where we have a mixed dashboard. We have yellow TPOs. So this is a wait and see approach right now. There's a bunch of nothing burgers happening right now. Look for the B setup. Trust me, I have an A plus, I have a B, I got a C plus, I got a D, and I got an F. That's where I say F off to the whole market and everybody else. Like yesterday, I took a couple of what I would consider a B setup because the market just took off and I had to just figure out pullback points during that huge run. And to be honest, the pullback points came around, I want to say 1 o'clock, about 1 o'clock. So let's say if you want to be like me, right, and ideally trade no more than 2 hours in a day, then this walk away piece is going to be very important. So far, nothing. All right, so far we have no action right now. We have zero action, as far as I'm concerned. This is just a bunch of chop that we have to sit and watch and wait. You know, and this is where the discipline piece comes in. Right, to literally watch through this crap. So you know what? I'll just do a little story time. So as you heard in the open, you know, I'm also a martial artist. So we had a great session yesterday. No, John, I don't break my rules. So here, so everybody can see that. So when I trade my B setup, am I breaking a rule? It depends on my sizing. For example, if I'm in the right direction, like number one, I have to make sure I'm in the right direction. You know, if I'm not in the right direction, then that is a cause for concern because that means I'm just taking any signal, right? But if all of my trades were in the same direction and maybe one wasn't as clean, like let's say the probability oscillator didn't cross at the time, it was just a little before, that's fine. Let's say the TPOs went from yellow to gray, that's fine. Let's say the two evidence lines are these red lines, this thick one and this one here. Let's say they didn't turn in time, that's a no. But if they turn, usually the skinny one will turn first because that's a smaller time frame, which is this one right here. That's like a 5-second time frame. So if that one turned and I see everything setting up and I take it a little early, that's a B setup for me. My A setup is when I have everything. It's the surge, the evidence lines, the probability oscillator, the Gabby buttons, all of it like at one time. Oh, of course. Of course. Definitely. I have to. Because the likelihood of it not hitting my TP1, depending where it is. So I'm going to go with my generic, right? 7.75 take profit 1, right? If I just willy-nilly take a B setup and go in it, I have to lower my risk because I have a higher probability of it taking my stop before it gets my TP1. When everything's aligned, the probability flips the other way. I have a higher probability of getting my TP1, which let's say is almost half of the position that's off the table, so I have a cushion of profit to let the runner run up. Yeah, and it's also because like right now, like if I was to take a short here, I would have to lower my position because we are really choppy right now. Because that's a lesson, right? That's a lesson I learned from Friday, where I took setup trades, but I was too heavy. I was too heavy, and then I got, everybody knows you get into that mindset of, oh, I can give it. I have a high, whatever, blah blah blah, and I got shellacked on Friday. Yesterday was a better day. Yesterday was a lot better day because I actually was a lot more patient and I wasn't as greedy. For me, though, my two most important things to work on in my trading career is sizing for greed, and then number two is overtrading. Is it overtrading? Oh, let me just make sure. Because I wrote down the notes. Let me go through my notes. Yeah. Yeah. So I broke my rules, meaning I took BS trades both ways, right? And I oversized. So when I do that, that means I've gotten caught in the cycle of trying to make money. Whenever I get caught in that cycle and I lose the process thinking, it's game over. I lose 100% of the time every time I do that. Okay, let's see what's happening here. Looks like the bulls are stepping in. We got another prove it there. That's good. Let's see what we have going on over here. Okay, we're getting close to my level, which I like to see. Let's see if it'll reject off of it or it will go right through. I don't know if it'll do it by the end of this 4-hour forecaster. But yeah, no, like that's my two. That's what I'm working on. I'm working on trying to be disciplined to stay with my A plus setups. Why? Because I have the data that they work. For me, they work for me. But the false need that I need to make a trade is something I'm battling with, and I have to develop my discipline muscle with. Yeah, I'm human. Everybody gets caught up in the hype and wanting to, pull in 5, 6, 7 figures. Everybody gets caught up in that thinking. I'm working on trying to remove those thoughts and just fill it in with the process I see in front of me, which I'm good at, but I can be a lot better. Like just yesterday, I passed another eval for my funded futures. I trade both. I just passed another one. I'm on the verge of passing a second one. Why? Because when I stick to my process, I do well. It's just that when I don't stick to my process, it falls apart. And I was talking to my mentor, Adam, yesterday, and he said he gave me some really um, he put in perspective for me. This is why I like talking with other traders and mentors and stuff like that. Um, he was like, Mo, you came from not knowing how to trade to not even being close to passing any type of combines or anything, to then getting funded, to then getting payouts. Now I'm on the road of how I can consistently not get the payouts, right? But eventually it's going to be my own account. How I can be on that road to be consistently profitable week over week or month over month, not just up and down, up and down. Right now I'm up and down because I'm still learning. It's still a process. Like the last month, April was horrible. May's been better. Let's see, I started this channel in November. So September, October was fantastic. It was my best ever, like my best trading months ever. Then it all fell apart. November, December, January. February was okay. March was so-so. Like a break-even month. April, garbage. This month, better. But it's the same thing. Like with anything that I personally do. Like if I, uh, you know, like yesterday, right? I worked out. I had the best training session probably in a while that I have. And I'm not any younger. I'm going against guys half my age, literally. But you know, I'm calmer. I'm calmer. I understand what to do, when to do it, and I pick my shots. I just don't go willy nilly, you know, trying to throw somebody who's like a lot faster. I just gotta wait. That's the same thing with trading. That's what I find. Same thing with trading. That's why I like both. I just gotta wait. I gotta wait for the setup. I gotta wait for, you know, a, a, a signal. And what's cool is once you see it, you gotta go for it. You can't hesitate. If you're right or wrong, you gotta go for it. So if you have your DOM up on your computer, you can see how the TPO really shows you that it's choppy. Because from what I'm seeing, I like looking at the DOM. I look at it all the time because I'm counting, right? Okay, so it's at 410. 410 up to 413 and back down to 410. So that's 3 points, right? Let's say you would enter the 410, went up 3, and now you're down 3. Now you're down 4. That's the chop I'm talking about. Right? You're down, then it went down 7. Okay, you've been 7 points. There you go. That's 10 points. It's 11 points. And then you're out. Now look, it just fired right back up. When I see that, that's chop to me. And if you look at this, your DOM when it's not choppy, I don't care which way, like it could be gray, red, or green. You'll see it'll have whatever direction, it'll have bigger pushes, bigger what's the word? Pulses in the directions. As long as you get the direction right, you'll get the bigger pulses in that direction. If the direction is not correct, you won't. And we are going down. We are going down. Okay. Guess what, people? Looking like a bearish day today. My statements have just flipped to bearish. Bearish, bearish, bearish. So we are looking for shorts. Let's wait for the next. See, like, there it goes. It flipped red here. Now there was no signal here, just so you know. See, John, I'm doing what I said. No signal, no trade. I had 0 signals in this junk to go short. 0. Not even the pinpoint trigger candles told me. Like nothing. Now, what would have been a B setup? This. You see yellow to red, and then when that dot disappeared, that's the B setup. So I'll just zoom in a little bit so you can see it. Yellow to red, and then when this bullish dot disappeared, that's a B setup. Low risk. See if you can catch a couple points. Then you have to be aware of context, right? You are already going towards the cheap box. All right, so right now there's nothing to do but to wait. So let me just put on some news and let's see what's going on during the day.
The curve is steepening. That's a sign of a loss of credibility. That's a lack of trust in the U.S. market. And what's happening is the dollar is declining, the curve is steepening. So I think one thing you want to keep on the radar screen is the U.S. dollar correlated to rates. It is not. That is a very, very concerning sign because what you would expect is as rates go up, you're still going to have to pay carry to sell the dollar. And you don't want to have those wide interest rate differentials and pay the difference on it. But the point is as long as rates are going up and the dollar selling off and those correlations are starting to change, that shows you that the regime is changing. The other thing is that U.S. equities are up. They've been rallying since Liberation Day, but the dollar's still not responding to higher U.S. equities. So I think a lot of it is what's happening in the equity market. If you track portfolios of hedge funds in the U.S. are buying into risk assets, but global funds are not. And you can see macro hedge funds are underperforming like localized hedge funds as a function of if they are negatively biased against the U.S. dollar, U.S. assets. And I think that the playbook is to watch how these correlations are not going back to normal. That'll be the key.
Mark, what do you make when the Treasury Secretary continues to reiterate that the U.S. still has a strong dollar policy?
I think he just has to say that. That is the standard litmus test. That is, they can't say that we would it's clear within certain frameworks and papers, the goal was to have a stronger dollar
so
to introduce.
Service.
That's every Treasury Secretary talks about a strong dollar. I've never heard anyone in the last 30, 40 years say we want a weaker dollar, but it's like, don't tell me, show me. And the behavior that's coming out. And again, the big piece of it, and I think everyone knows, is the U.S. can't run twin deficits without foreign capital. And again, the Japanese are the largest owner of U.S. treasuries. And again, you're talking, and if you see the trade discussions going on with U.S. and Japan, Japan has a very big card they could play there, which is essentially undermining the treasury market and causing a further steepening of the curve.
The US wants that capital. I want to be very clear about that. What they don't want is their exports. Can you have one without the other?
You can't. You have, essentially, there is an accounting identity that works, and it's worked through the entire phase of globalization. And the phase of globalization since China entered WTO is essentially U.S. runs a deficit, and the rest of the market funds it by buying U.S. assets. So you run the twin deficit, you run a current account. The other side of the ledger is a capital account. That's all the foreign money coming in. So the reason why the dollar's overvalued by 15, 20% on a broad basis is everyone has been buying U.S. equities since even the last 5 years. It is the largest holding of assets. Is if you look at foreign holding relative to U.S. market cap, it's almost a third. So essentially, the U.S. equity market's been the only game in town, especially for the 10 years that we had or 15 years of low interest rates. And essentially, you cannot have those two things work together. You need foreigners. And essentially, if you wanted to reindustrialize, you would need the foreign capital to fund the factories and to fund the deficits and to bring the engineers. You would need all that to work.
That's the structural bid in dollar assets. Will we upend that? Mark, it's good to see you, sir. Appreciate your time. Mark McCormick there of TD Securities, a clinic on the FX market. The second hour of Bloomberg Surveillance, just around the corner.
Nationwide is more than you think.
Definitely. Their resources help me create customized retirement income plans that help clients feel more confident.
Helping them get in their comfort zone, their retirement comfort zone.
Good zone.
Like my other favorite zone, Cal Zone.
We're going to have mixed data throughout this period. We're not going to really know where we stand.
The consumer is much more sensitive.
What we've seen and heard has allowed us to take down our recession fears just a little bit.
What we're seeing collectively in all this data is an economy that looks to be slowing a bit.
The hard data are going to turn. When the hard data turn, we'll have the Fed cutting.
This is Bloomberg Surveillance with Jonathan Farrow, Lisa Abramowitz, and Anne-Marie Hordern.
Live from New York City this morning. Good morning. Good morning. For our audience worldwide, the second hour of Bloomberg Surveillance starts right now. And your scores look like this. Equity futures on the S&P negative, and we're down across the board following a 5-day winning streak. We break that this morning. The S&P down by more than 1%. Lisa used to talk about a so-called toxic brew. This is what a toxic mix looks like. Equities down.
Okay, I'm in long, knowing I'm against the price action trend. I reduced risk to 2 contracts. One peeled off at my TP1, and now I'm in a runner long. The setup was there. Surge here. This change. I'm going to secure 10 points because I'm against the trend. So I'm going to have the news on while I'm in this runner. So before I do, just to let you know, alright, so I'm in long, a risk-free. 10 points secured. It's about to take me out. Oh, and there goes the drop. See? I was against the trend, reduced my risk, took points, and I knew that. I'm very happy with that trade. Followed my process of my entry process. I knew I was against the trend. That's why I lowered my risk. Got some points. Now I have a little cushion, and now I can sit back. Now it's making it easier for me to wait a bit because I have a bit of a cushion. The context was right. We were considered cheap. We had 2 triggers pull. So now I wait.
Please said this. They said they don't expect the Moody's downgrades to actually change votes in Congress, but could force selling of treasuries, which have much more bigger impact on Congress, which in the end kind of changes.
Yeah, that was a beautiful scalp trade.
Dials up the volume as we kick off a new trading week, and your trading week looks like this. Coming up a little bit later on this week, you're going to get numbers from Target and Home Depot at a time when the president is piling on the pressure on Walmart to absorb the costs associated with tariffs.
Yeah, but we haven't heard a public walkback of what Doug McMillan said on the call. And frankly, Scott Bessent took some real venom out of that. So if you wonder if Target and Home Depot reiterate some of the message that we heard from Walmart.
How much much of a PR problem could this become further down the line? I hated it when the previous administration tried to blame inflation on Bidenflation. You know, on greedflation and all those silly things. It was ridiculous. They came out with a massive fiscal package, shoved it through an economy that was supply constrained, and we got inflation. It had nothing to do with corporate greed. That was ridiculous. And this is too.
I couldn't agree with you more, which raises the question, do they actually succumb to that and hit it on their margins, or do they band together, or do they do what Tim Cook did, which is we're just going to have to raise prices. Independent of any policy changes, prices are just going up, and maybe you're going to have to eat it.
Equities are down this morning. You've got to eat this. We're down 1% on the S&P 500. Yields are higher. This dollar is weaker. Coming up this hour, Jack Manley of JP Morgan with the US stripped of its AAA credit rating. Kathy Jones of Charles Schwab as 30-year bond yields break back through 5%, and Neil Dutter of Renmac as President Trump tells Walmart to eat the tariffs. We begin this hour, stocks lower and bond yields higher. Jack Manley of JP Morgan Asset Management writing, I don't think we are out of the woods just yet. There's a lot more policy uncertainty, which will translate into more macro uncertainty, which will translate into more rate uncertainty, which will translate into more volatility. Jack joins us now for more. Jack, good morning.
Good morning.
Is the worst behind us?
I think the worst is behind us, but I don't think the coast is clear just yet, John. I mean, there's a lot clearly going on underneath the surface at the moment. The headlines every day that seem to fine-tune the output of any sort of model that you may have. And I always like to remind people when I'm having conversations with our clients that trade and tariffs, that's what's been dominating headlines at the moment. Now we're getting, of course, some discussion around the fiscal side of things. That downgrade over the weekend helps to accelerate or emphasize that discussion. There are also significant changes to the regulatory environment coming down the pipeline. There are significant changes to immigration that are happening and evolving and will continue to get more impactful. We're in the early innings of this ball game. There's a lot more time until midterms. There's a lot more time until the presidential election. And when you're talking about years in Washington, that's essentially an eternity. There's a lot that can happen. And so, you know, I think, yes, you know, peak trade tariff enthusiasm in Washington, that is probably behind us. Does it mean the market's just up and to the right from here until the end of the year? I don't think so.
Let's pick out one security, one number. 30-year bond yield.
Nationwide is more than you think.
Definitely. Their resources help me create customized retirement income plans that help clients feel more confident.
Helping them get in their comfort zone, their retirement comfort zone.
Good zone.
Like my other favorite zone, Cal zone.
5%. Two questions. How much does that constrain Republicans in Washington? How much does it constrain...
Okay, TPOs are turning off now.
It constrains policymakers a lot more than it constrains...
So they're not red, they're not yellow.
You know, I think of this as somebody...
See if there's another long setup.
I'm living in the city. I'm not on the property ladder right now, and with treasury yields...
New 4 hour.
Especially the further you get along the curve, the harder it is to get on that property ladder. And as we know, owning property is a quintessential part of the American dream of how you define something like that. And this administration is going to lean very, very hard, and we see it on the pressure on central bankers, on Jay Powell in particular, to move rates lower. You know, you mentioned, Lisa, we of course need a little bit of growth to help to offset whatever's going on with deficits. You know, we also need lower interest rates to help to inspire some of that growth. It's very hard to grow when you have long yields that are as high as they are right now. And I do think that's going to force policymakers to rein in some of these fiscal discussions. On the equity side of things, though, I mean, we're kind of back to where we were, last year and the year before, which is that the rally that we've seen since lows earlier this year has been driven overwhelmingly by those magnificent 7 names. They're up on long-term secular trends like technology, microchips, artificial intelligence, obviously, in particular. And if you are talking about a 5, 10, 15-year long-term secular trend evolution, revolution, then 5% in the 30 years is not going to make much of a difference. Maybe for those smaller companies, maybe for those companies that are more sensitive to rates, but those magnificent 7, they're relatively insulated.
I'm struck by the fact that maybe models have changed, the parameters, at least for these models, have changed. Stock put out a deck this morning talking about how there's declining foreign participation in 30-year Treasury auctions, and that relates to U.S. equities as well. What we heard from Mark McCormick is that pension funds around the world, particularly in Scandinavia, in Canada, have really been selling U.S. assets. There is an anger and there is a look for something else that has potential better growth opportunity. Isn't that a structural change that removes some of the dynamism, some of the underlying momentum in U.S. equities in addition to bonds?
There have been sell America sort of periods or periods of enthusiasm around selling America in the past, and it all takes us time to get over that. And I think at some point, we have clear evidence, I would say, that there is room for negotiation, that these trade hostilities could lower, which in theory could make us all a little bit friendlier, over the next currency, it's very hard to ignore some of these companies that are out there that are doing the bulk of the heavy lifting in global equity markets. And I think when push comes to shove, a lot of these pension funds will have mandates to maximize returns for their participants. A lot of individuals saving for retirement on the private side of things are going to be looking for those meaty gains, and it's going to be really hard to get that outside of the States.
You don't think that there's a structural change that moves any kind of outperformance away from the U.S. elsewhere?
I mean, that's the question I've been hearing constantly, Lisa, is how do we think about, the next 15 years and we abandon this previous regime? And I have to say, no, I don't think that's the case. I mean, when I look at what's going on with foreign markets, in particular in the developed world, I like to think about things thematically, and I like to think about things thematically overseas because valuations
See if there's any setup.
are always like the biggest reason why everybody wants to invest in foreign markets. Clearly don't make much of a difference in and of themselves. You need something, you need some sort of catalyst, you need some sort of theme. When I think about the themes that are taking over foreign markets, international developed market banks have done extraordinarily well over these past few months. European aerospace and defense companies have done extraordinarily well over these past few months. I mean, real, meaningful outperformance underpinning that sort of higher level outperformance of these ex-US markets relative to the States. The biggest outperformance that we've seen in decades. But European banks are doing well not because they're innovating, but because interest rates aren't negative anymore. And you can't make money if you're a bank when rates are negative. And now rates aren't negative. And is there a structural shift there? Will the ECB never go back to negative interest rates? Yes, that's probably true. But it's not like we can expect 20% returns out of European banks every year for the next 15 years. European aerospace and defense, I think it's actually a very similar story. There's a lot of pent-up demand here, with Europe not having spent a whole lot on its collective defense over these past couple of decades, now being forced to pony up a little bit more cash on that front. But at the end of the day, these are industrial companies. You're not looking for 15, 20% out of these names over the next 10 to 15 years. So this to me feels like a tactical story, and it's got legs. It's interesting, and these underlying shifts are real, but it feels like we just sort of rebased ourselves higher in these markets, as opposed to unlocking some sort of new, secular trend or shift. I think tech is still where it's at, and I know that right here is the best place to do that.
What are you telling clients to do?
What am I telling clients to do?
Nationwide is more than you think.
Yeah, they're client ready market updates.
Alright, I think a long setup is coming up soon. Okay, there's a long trigger right there. I'm in. Risk free. Let's see if this runs or not. Alright, let's see. Let's see if this is going to be the runner of the day. Alright, so I'm going to stay true to my word. I'm going to take a break. So what's going to happen now is I'm going to leave the news up. News is going to be up and running. see anything happening right now. I'm just gonna look at something else and play this.
About 4.5% in reaction to the downgrade, but notes that his team would, quote, be buyers of such a dip. That's your Bloomberg brief. John?
Yeah, Howard, thank you. You'd like to define that dip. 1% move after 5% plus rally in a single week. Does 1% get it done?
We could have him on and talk about that. Is this sort of the new threshold? He was also talking about 6,100. To get above that, you really have to have earnings per share upgrades, and you're not seeing that. So there are some other thresholds here. There are other things at play. So maybe the dip is maybe bigger.
Yeah, in the context of the rally off the April low,
Yeah,
it's
I'm not
like
sure.
this
Yeah.
big right now. We're down about 1% this morning. Up next, getting the tax bill over the line.
The plan is to move it to the Rules Committee by midweek and to the House floor by the end of the week, so we meet our original Memorial Day deadline. I think it's going to send a very important message of stability to the stock market and the bond markets.
Not much stability this morning. Up next on the program, Bloomberg's Tyler Kendall joined us live from the nation's capital. Live from New York City this morning. Good morning.
Make this day out of sight. Got that confident vibe inside my soul. Living my life in cruise control. Nothing can stop me now, I know. I'm moving fast, I'm on a roll. Got that confident vibe inside my soul. Living my life in cruise control. Nothing can stop me now, I know. I'm moving fast, I'm on a roll. Hearts are drum beating strong and loud. I stand tall, feeling so proud. Dreams within reach and in the clouds. I'll chase them down and make them count. Trust the journey, trust the ride. With each turn I know I'll glide. In this joy I'll always reside. Feeling good, I'll never hide. Got that confident vibe inside my soul. Living my life in cruise control. Nothing can stop me now, I know. I'm moving fast, I'm on a roll. Got that confident vibe inside my soul. Living my life in cruise control. Nothing can stop me now, I know. I'm moving fast, I'm on a roll. Got that confident vibe inside my soul. Living my life in cruise control. Nothing can stop me now, I know. I'm moving fast, I'm on a roll. Got that confident vibe inside my soul. Living my life in cruise control. Nothing can stop me now, I know. I'm moving fast, I'm on a roll. Woke up to the sunlight in my eyes. Today's the day I'll rise and shine. No worries, no fears cross my mind. Let's leave the doubts all behind. Walking on clouds, I'm feeling light. Smiles and laughter all in sight. Every step I take feels so right. Let's make this day out of sight. Got that confident vibe inside my soul. Living my life in cruise control. Nothing can stop me now, I know. I'm moving fast, I'm on a roll. Got that confident vibe inside my soul. Living my life in cruise control. Nothing can stop me now, I know. I'm moving fast, I'm on a roll. Hearts are drum beating strong and loud. I stand tall, feeling so proud. Dreams within reach and in the clouds. I'll chase them down and make them count. Trust the journey, trust the ride. With each turn I know I'll glide. In this joy I'll always reside. Feeling good, I'll never hide. Got that confident vibe inside my soul. Living my life in cruise control. Nothing can stop me now, I know. I'm moving fast, I'm on a roll. control. Nothing can stop me now, I know. I'm moving fast, I'm on a roll. Got that confident vibe inside my soul. Living my life in cruise control. Nothing can stop me now, I know. I'm moving fast, I'm on a roll. Got that confident vibe inside my soul. Living my life in cruise control. Nothing can stop me now, I know. I'm moving fast, I'm on a roll.
Get to work on this bill as well.
Tyler Kendall with the latest in Washington. Thank you. Jack Manley of JP Morgan Asset Management still with us. Jack, let's continue this conversation, but I want to talk
I am back. I am back. I am back. I took a little break. Had just a little 2-minute. Had to walk around, step outside, shift my eyes. So I'm gonna do just a little bit of a recap right now. So I took a long here, little scalp long here, and I took another one here. Both of them I got my TP1s, no runners. So that's telling me something. That's telling me that that is not the right direction. So now I have to completely switch my focus around. I'm going to be looking for shorts. So I have to look for setups for shorts. It may not happen. Actually, I can almost guarantee it may not happen during this live stream, but it will be later in the day. We'll see a little climb up before we have a bigger climb down, especially if price stays below this 400 area. Because we got about 200 some odd points below that we can get to. So now it's just a waiting game. And I go over, let me go over the statements that I see. All right, so first thing that I see is a bearish statement. Okay, cool. That's one. Let me just draw this. Okay, get a bearish statement there. Boom. Okay, so then what else? We have the IVDs are red, bearish. Okay, background's red. Okay, dashboard. Trending short, control short, control short. Okay, so I was completely against the trend and I knew it and I called it. So that's why those little things scalped. They hit my TP1 but couldn't really run, didn't even have enough legs to run. So I don't care about what I see right now. This can go. Now, when I say I don't care, I want to put this into context, right? I have to be okay with where price is now at around, I'm going to call it 400, right? Around 400. Price can get as high as 514 in the 500. That's where my that other level is, that red level that I had before. It can get all the way to there. Sorry, the green level, back to my long solo. It can get all the way to there and still head down. So I have to be prepared that price could push up to around the 470s to the 500s. Then we lose energy there and go down. Now the question is, do I want to wait for that, or do I just want to exit and not trade anymore today because that's how long I have to wait? That's the question that I have today. So if I'm saying, you know what am I willing to wait for? So if price stalls at around the 420s and I get the signals for a short, I'm taking that short. That's one spot. The next one is at 450. So that means this long, if you're in a long now, this can go all, I hope for you, it goes all the way up to 450. Stalls out so I can get in the short there. If that doesn't happen in around the 450s, then I'm going to exit out and tell myself today, you know what? The trade I'm looking for is not going to happen in the time frame I want to trade. So, and that's it. Now it's just about waiting and seeing. Waiting and seeing as we push up now, which is 100% what I expect to do. Because if we get to the 450s, that's around the expensive box on the 4-hour forecaster. That'll be a good area to short. However, if we can't get above the 420s and I see my setup happening, I'm gonna go in. Yeah, so this is serving two purposes. One, I'm trying to give a play-by-play of what I'm thinking. Two, it's also reinforcing my discipline. I don't know if you're all into energy drinks, but I really like this one here, the Jocko Go. This is Jocko. I think it's Jocko Willis. He does all the Navy SEAL, podcasts and stuff like that. I really like his energy drinks because it's not like there's not too much caffeine in it, so you're not going crazy. But they taste good too. I think it's only 90. It's how much caffeine is it? Yeah, it's only 95 milligrams caffeine. That's a cup of coffee. Where other drinks you have 200-300 one serving. That's a lot. All right, here comes the climb. There's a buy sign. This is the stinky part. I have to let all this happen. But I am in the green, slightly in the green, because everything was a TP1. So, as far as capital-wise, no capital has been wasted. Process-wise, it could be tighter. Could be a lot tighter. It's just I am getting very impatient. Getting very impatient because I have a direction I have in mind. However, present price action is just, it's not even price action. It's my entry. I'm getting frustrated because my entry is not matching the direction I want to go in. So I just gotta sit and wait. Hopefully everyone out there is making some good trades, smart choices, making some money today. It's always good, should always be celebrated. see if maybe there's a short setup here. I would like to take a short here. My stop would be at the around 440 if I took it here. Let's see. Not just yet. TPO, sorry, not TPO. IVD is still red. Background is red. That has not changed yet. Let's see what this looks like. Alright, so we got one signal going. That's the surge. Let's see if we get a pinpoint candle coloring change. So far, not yet. Okay, we got two signals. Sell, alright. See if that sell button sticks around. Sorry, the purple Gabby button. That's actually nice. Yeah, push up a little bit. It's a better entry point. Okay, so the sell button went away with that pulse up. Okay, not surprised because it's there, okay. Still not in yet. Still not in yet. This will be my first short of the day. Okay, so gotta wait. Gotta wait for it. Nope. Looks like the bulls are sitting here for now. Yeah, I'm just waiting. I'm literally just waiting for my entry, mechanical entry to trigger. That's about it. I like where we're stalling out. Direction I have right now is bearish. So now I want my mechanical entry to fire off. I enter, get my TP1 and see if we can get the runner running. Price action might not just be ready for it yet. We do have a money zone right underneath us there. And there's a, if you've taken the mentorship, you understand what is around us. that gives more context of what price is doing. Okay, here we go. I'm going in. Maybe I was a little late on the trigger. Let's see. Yeah, I'm out. I'm out of that trade because of the change in the pinpoint coloring right there. Yeah, it was always dangerous because of where we were.
Hustle hard in the morning light, shots are ticking through the night. Moji's got that golden sight, making profits left and right. Candlesticks, the dance we know, green and red like disco flow. Trading all day, don't let go. Cash now, wait and let it show. Success is calling, don't be late. With Moji, we calibrate. Stack that cash like we've got faith. In the market, we'll create. Buy low, sell high, that's the creed. Day by day, we feel the need. Victory is guaranteed when you follow Moji's lead. Tick-tock on the trading clock, price jumps higher, don't be shocked. Moji rolling round the block, riches knocking, this is rock. Success is calling, don't be late. With Moji, we calibrate. Stack that cash like we've got faith. In the market, we'll create. Buy low, sell high, that's the creed. Day by day, we feel the need. Victory is guaranteed.
Alright, so that's starting to change. Yeah, this is starting to change.
Hustle hard in the morning light, shots are ticking through the night. Moji's got that golden sight, making profits left and right. Candlesticks, the dance we know, green and red like disco flow. Trading all day, don't let go. Cash now, wait and let it show. Success is calling, don't be late. With Moji, we calibrate. Stack that cash like we've got faith. In the market, we'll create. Buy low, sell high, that's the creed. Day by day, we feel the need. Victory is guaranteed when you follow Moji's lead. Tick-tock on the trading clock, price jumps higher, don't be shocked. Moji rolling round the block.
Alright. This just might be a stop trading. Dude.
Stack that cash like we've got faith. In the market, we'll create. Buy low, sell high, that's the creed. Day by day, we feel the need. Victory is guaranteed when you follow Moji's lead. ticking through the night. Moji's got that golden sight, making profits left and right. Candlesticks, the dance we know. Green and red like disco flow. Trading all day, don't let go. Cash now, wave and let it show. Success is calling, don't be late. With Moji, we calibrate. Stack that cash like we've got faith. In the market, we'll create. Buy low, sell high, that's the creed. Day by day, we feel the need. Victory is guaranteed when you follow Moji's lead. Tick tock on the trading clock. Price jumps higher, don't be shocked. Moji rolling round the block. Riches knocking, this is rock. Success is calling, don't be late. With Moji, we calibrate.
All right, so I'm gonna start wrapping this up in about a minute or so, because I'm not seeing anything I like. I don't want to force anything either.
Hustle hard in the morning light. Shots are ticking through the night. Moji's got that golden sight, making profits left and right. Candlesticks, the dance we know. Green and red like disco flow. Trading all day, don't let go. Cash now, wave and let it show. Success is calling, don't be late. With Moji, we calibrate. Stack that cash like we've got faith. In the market, we'll create. Buy low, sell high, that's the creed. Day by day, we feel the need.
All right, that's it for today. Okay, so no more trading today. Price is not moving. It's a yellow TPO. I'm not going to frustrate myself. I'm not going to put myself in unnecessary risk. So, all right. So with that, it was a trading day. I tried to stay focused on my A+ setups. I did see a couple. I took them. I got my TP1. It didn't run. Right now we're in chop, and I'm not gonna risk my capital today. So thank you so much, everybody, for being on the live today. And as always, always preserve your capital. Remember, if you're on this journey with me to trade, to build your wealth, to build your mindset, to build everything else, don't forget, take a look at the TWA indicators to help you along the journey. My name is Mo. Thank you so much. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see everybody tomorrow. Bye.